Hello everyone, welcome to BISP Solution. Today we are going to talk about the employee termination process. So there are two ways in Oracle Fusion HCM to terminate employees. So when you terminate a person's work relationship, you end all of the person's assignment in the work relationship. So human resources specialist can terminate people by using the existing termination quick action or the new terminate employment quick action on the my client group. But the line manager can terminate their workers by selecting either the termination or terminate employment quick action on the my team tab. So what happens when you terminate a work relationship? So the work relationship and its associated assignment become inactive the next day after the termination, and user access and roles are revoked after the termination date. But you can change this. You can revoke the person's access earlier or much later than the termination date. And also the enterprise and legal employer service period end on the termination date. The person becomes an ex-worker for the legal employer. So if you use Oracle payroll, the payroll administrator gets a notification about the termination, which is the administrator queue to terminate the person's payroll. So if the person has many work relationship and you want to terminate all of them, you must terminate the primary one last. Okay, first you have to terminate the all of the first one. So let's just move to the application. Here you can go to the my client group and go to the person management option. Search for the person whom you want to terminate. Okay, so Curtis Karen working in the USO and legal entity. As a product data. So in the manufacturing US department. Okay, so now she wants to resign from her job. So for that, because we log in as an HR specialist, so we can go to the work relationship option. Okay, and here you can see the action button, and here you can see the terminate and cancel work relationship option. So I'm just going to click on the terminate. Okay, line manager can perform under the my team tab, and HR specialist can perform from the my client group here, just like we are performing. Here you can see the action reason is a resignation, and here you can see other reason also. But Curtis Karen just want to resign from her job because of some personal reason. Okay, so this is the notification date. So the terminate notification date is the date the initiator notify the other party of the termination. For example, a worker notifies an employer of his resignation, or an employer notify a worker of a layoff. Okay, that is a notification date. So it's a worker is, in this case, worker is notifying the employer of her resignation. Then you have the termination date here. So is the worker's last date of employment, unless you have enabled the last working date, which is different than the termination date. So this default to the notification date plus the notice period specify in the assignment. So you can override this default when entering the termination. Okay, and here if you want to add any comment, then you can add it. These are the verification steps. Okay, and here you can see the user access option. So you can revoke user access after a termination or just immediately, so you can select according to your preference. And this is a rehire recommendation. If you want to recommend this employee for the rehire in the future, so if you select no, so this employee is not eligible for rehiring again in the future, and not specified, so you can hire or you cannot, it depends on you. And yes, we select yes, so we can rehire this employee in the future also. Okay, so after that you can just go to the review option. So you can review your information, and after that you can click on the save or submit. Okay, so what happens to a, so this is a warning. So processing option immediate or deferred, so the request will be submit according, so we just select immediate. Okay, so what happened to payroll in a termination? So basically, when you terminate employees with eligible earnings such as bonus or vacation payout after their termination date, you must associate them with a non-recurring element. You can see now this action button is disabled. Okay, now we can go to the home page. Here you can search for the person. Here you can see the termination. So this is the terminate employment, and this is the termination. Okay, so we have two option. So this is the navigation for the line manager. So Curtis Sweetie is the line manager also. Okay, so under the my team tab you can search for the employee, then come here and you can click on this termination option. Okay, and we already saw how HR specialist can terminate the employee. Okay, here you can see the termination notification date, termination take effect on which date, and what's the way to terminate the employee. So these are the reason. Okay, and termination type and why are you terminating, so you can select accordingly. And here you can see the warning also. You can just click on the continue option. Here you can see the enter termination info, so revoke user after the termination, recommended the rehire, so you can select accordingly. And after that you can add the comment and attachment if you want, otherwise just click on the submit. Okay, so these are the two way to terminate the employee. So if you want to terminate as an HR specialist, so you can go from the my client group, and if you are a line manager and you terminating the employees, you can go to the my team tab. Okay, so Perry started working as a payroll clerk, and here you can see in his calculation card he has tax withholding, absence card and the time card. Okay, you can go here the task list and go to the absence cases. Here you can see the plan balance he has for the sick, for the US voluntary plan, and the vacation plan, how many hours he has. Here you can select the absence type. On behalf of the employee, the HR specialist can apply the absence. You can select the start date or end date. Here you can add the start time or end time. Here you can add the details, otherwise you can submit it. Okay, this time is not located. Okay, there is something wrong. Let's try. Start time and end time is 8:30 to 5:30. Okay. Sense record. Let's check. Okay, so they are 15:20. Okay, let's try to. There is something wrong, that's why how it's calculated. Now let's try, otherwise just run the payroll. The error is because the employee doesn't have this year absence balance, that's why we are not able to submit it. Okay, now it's correct. Okay, but there is wrong with the in the action button you have withdraw option as well. Okay, let's search for the employee. Now let's run the payroll. Okay. Okay, because of that timing, I think we are not able to run the payroll for that employee. Now let's just try one more time. Okay, because application is not allow us to actually apply leave for between the assignment dates. I don't know why. Okay. Let's try with another employee. Okay, now we just applied for the leave. Let's just try to run the payroll for the employee. Okay, let's first go to the previous one. The application is very slow. Let's take a look in our next session, the payroll process. I'm going to explain in our next session because the application is like very slow. Sorry for the session.